We've got a lot of good things to cover today, and I do want to leave room at the end for just odds and ends questions, things that you've read about, things you had questions to follow up on. So we'll try to make sure we get through that to leave time for that. That's one of the questions that people have said, when do we ever get to ask just general questions? So I have it on here today, so you will get your chance. All right, Bob Luckner, who has been our point person on the issues with the South Siesta Key restoration, Turtle Beach area, and it's quite a job that we've been involved with in the background. So I'll let him tell you what he knows.
Good evening. Let's see. Well, I guess it was just about a year ago that we first gave you a heads up on the renourishment on Turtle Beach. And what I wanted to ask as part of an update on that is how many of you participated in the Sarasota County Public Workshop on Zoom last Tuesday, a week ago, on the 24th?
We didn't know about it. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't well publicized, but they did send a postcard out on it. People live down there, but the rest of the key, I think we sent out something out.
We sent an e-blast.
We sent an e-blast out. Yeah, I can't tell how well it was attended, but it was a Zoom meeting, and the county gave about a 15-minute presentation, and then they took emailed questions, and then they would read the question and respond back. So if you got about 5 minutes here, I'd like to flip through the 16 pages of slides that they used. I don't know about you, Zoom meetings are a little unsatisfying, but nonetheless. So.
And Bob, you did have 2 people hold up their hands that are on Zoom.
Oh, okay. So that's 3, 4. Okay. So if you could flip to the page 2.
And there's the first one. Let's see if I get it down. Okay. That what you're looking for?
Yeah, can you make it full screen?
No, you can't, because then I can't do any of the others.
Okay, so anyways, that was on the 24th. If you could go down 2 more pages, please.
Okay.
They just reminded us that this is damage that was caused in 2016 that eroded about 100,000 cubic yards, or about 10% of what they put on there the prior year. And they applied for and got a FEMA grant for about $3.5–4 million to pay for a lot of that. You can now flip to page 5.
That's forced in the next page.
Yeah. Only thing I wanted to point out is the kind of brown granular sand that's down there. That's not what they're going back with. That's kind of the offshore sand that they use a fair amount. They're going back with mined sand from the central part of Florida. It will be light tan to white in color and a much finer grain. It looks a little bit more like what used to be there. Okay. Next page. They're going to have environmental monitoring. They're going to start in about a week and a half doing shorebird surveys, because there are Wilson's plovers that nest down there. And starting about April 15th, the turtles are supposed to show up, so they'll start doing surveys first thing in the morning, looking for turtle crawls and mark the nests. And they've also got some gopher tortoises down there in kind of the parking lot area, and they've marked those so that they don't get run over or hurt. Next page. On construction schedule and traffic. Bill, you asked a question. The contractor is not allowed to stage trucks on Midnight Pass Road or in designated areas outside of Turtle Beach. So they can't line up across from the pub there, and they can't line up on Midnight Pass. So they're that's what their requirements are, and they're gonna have to maintain two-way traffic. It's their responsibility to hire off-duty officers to control traffic. And when I talked to them, they said they can't hire sheriffs here because they work so much overtime that there aren't any available. But they will normally hire contractors from either Florida Highway Patrol or from Fisheries and Wildlife, and they're still officers and they can control traffic. And I'll remind you that once again, there's about 100 trucks a day, and they're gonna do 8 to 5, so it's about 11 trucks an hour. So guess what? That's like one every 6 minutes or so. And I don't think a truck can pull in there, dump its load and get out in 6 minutes. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that goes. And this is gonna go on for about 50 days. Starting early March and ending by the end of April, because then the turtles will kick them out. Next page, please. Yeah, here we go. This is maybe a little hard to see, but it is the entrance from Midnight Pass into Turtle Beach, and then going to the south end of the parking lot near the condos there, and that's where they're going to cut through the dune area and go dump the sand on the beach. Next page. What they told us was they're going to start on the south end, sort of right in front of the condos, and about 200 feet a day they'll fill in with sand, and they will block off about 500 feet, and they'll move forward 200 feet every day. So it'll be about 500 feet of the beach blocked off for part of that 2 months. The next slide, please. Here's kind of what a truck would look like. That's the size of the truck. It's a big truck, 20 cubic yards. And this was when they were doing this up on North Longboat Key. The next page, they'll then push that around with bulldozers and smooth it out. And I'm not sure, to me, it seems confusing if they're going to be dumping it in by the condos and then hauling it north. How that limits it to 500 feet. Seems like there are going to be some people sunbathing on what's already been renourished that, like on Lido, might get run over.
Bob, can I interject something here
Sure, absolutely, Bill.
to confirm what you just said or whatever? You know, I did have a talk. I called the project manager.
Good. Curtis Smith.
Yeah, Curtis. He actually told me that the staging area, and what you said there, they were going to be going into where the condo property.
No,
No, because they are going to stage out there in the parking lot.
right,
Matter of fact, opposite the ramp.
just before the gate to the
At the
condos.
ramp, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Before the gate, okay, I just wanted to.
Yeah, there's a place there they can do a 3-point turn and then back onto the beach.
Right,
Maybe.
Matt, gotcha.
Next page. Okay, they're going to be using these bigger dump trucks with big wheels to drive up and down the beach. So if you're going to sunbathe out there, watch out. And in the final cleanup, the contractor has to restore and repair any damage to the dunes. And they have to, what's called tilling the beach before May the 1st. And that is like a farmer out there with a disc harrow, and it kind of loosens the sand up so that the turtles don't have to struggle to dig a nest. And I guess I did want to tell you a couple other things. They went out for bid, and the county has a nice little website. You can go on and look at the status of the bid. Their bids are due on May the 15th. So in a couple, February the 15th. February the 15th. And the schedule is that in 2 weeks, they'll review the bids and go to the commission and get approval to sign the contract and then start on or about the 1st of March and get done in their 50 working days. So we'll see what happens. I'm a little suspicious they're not going to get good bids because it seems to me to be an impossible task. And they don't also have their permit from the FDEP yet to use onshore sand instead of offshore sand. And I keep watching that and their website. And when I talked to them, they said they're on schedule to release their permit on February the 27th, 2 days before they sign a contract or try to get approval. So the county's got themselves in a really tough contracting window here. So I don't know what'll happen. I don't even know whether FDEP will get it approved by then, because once they issue the permit, then people can challenge it if they want to. And the county doesn't have a lot of flex. FEMA has just treated them poorly, in my opinion. And I know that the county sent our ACE commissioner up there along with Rob Lewis, our lobbyist in Washington, D.C., I guess a week or so ago. And they were going to tell FEMA they were being unreasonable, that they had to get all this work done and the last bill in by July. So we'll see what happens on that. This is not a done deal yet. What can I say? We're going to pull all the strings we can. And I want to acknowledge our commissioner, Mark Smith, has been really studying on this and been very supportive of our concerns about truck traffic and beach disruption. And, the budget's $5.7 million. It'll be interesting to see whether they get any contractor crazy enough to bid on this. So I'll bet you a shiny nickel they don't. Okay, that's any other questions? Joyce?
At the workshop, I had sent a question, haven't received an answer yet, but I know that it stated in materials that the contractor was responsible for repairing any damage to the Midnight Path.
Yeah.
So my question was, and maybe our commissioner can look into this, is the county going to do a survey of the existing condition of the road before the project starts? And then survey it after the project, so we know if there's been any damage? How is that going to be determined?
I don't know. Any other questions?
Is there a GBSL process, Gulf setback line process for the county, or they exempt themselves? Is there a Gulf setback line process?
They already have a permit from 2016 to work on the beach there.
Gotcha, okay.
So
So that's one.
the only modification is the source of the sand. Yeah. And they're not really building any permanent structure there. They're dumping 10% more sand on it. But
I just want to put on record a point. And so we don't know what's even going to happen. Already done at the condominiums. And of course, I'm talking about Richmond Code. They're already marching around dealing with discounts and cancellations
really,
for March. And yeah.
because
So
of
that's,
this,
oh yeah, I mean, that's how crazy this all is. It's not gonna-
that's a shame. Yeah. Well, it'll cost the county tourism tax too.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, any other questions? Look, we're working hard for you. I think Commissioner Smith has been working hard for us on this, and we'll see what happens. But we're gonna keep doing, and You know me, I got a couple cards up my sleeve that I'd rather not talk about yet, but. And it doesn't involve laying down on the road in front of the traffic. Okay. The other thing I wanted to mention was the FDOT project and the resurfacing out here on Midnight Pass. And, you know, they started working on that. The schedule was early January, they started fixing driveways and sidewalks and stuff like that. And then come April the 18th, they're gonna do 1 to 2 weeks of resurfacing where they send these milling machines in and do a couple of lanes and then lay immediately the blacktop down on it. And they get that done pretty fast, but it's gonna be hell in the middle of just after Easter.
The one good thing about the bumpy road by the main beach, it slows everything down.
Well, that's true.
It really does. I'm kind of concerned, because I go through there, bouncing around.
Yeah.
Oh, well, fix it, you're gonna have another problem.
Yeah, they're not going that far, of course. They're gonna go to the traffic light and then come up this part of Midnight to Shannon.
So those moguls will remain.
Okay. Yeah, I hate them, but then I see how it slows everybody down, so it's kind of like.
How come there's one success? You might have noticed their original plan was to use what are called Jersey barriers.
Yes.
You know what those are, those big concrete, looks like center lane type of things. And they actually used them out here. And we had told them, that's gonna be a disaster if nothing else. When they close down the east lanes, the poor trolley will come by in the center lane and go get ready to drop people off, and they'll step off the trolley and face a 4-foot high concrete barrier. How are they gonna get around that? So they listen. I count that as a victory. They're using cones out there now, and they can pick them up at night. And when people are walking across or getting off the trolley, they just have to dodge out of the way of the cone. So I'll treat that as a success by Siesta Association, and FDOT actually listened. And I think Spencer Anderson probably talked with them about it, because I know we talked to Spencer about it. So, you know, it's going okay, and the driveways they're putting in are all concrete, 6 inches thick, and so it'll be an improvement there. We'll see how it looks when they're all done here. But now they're supposed to be done by the end of July. And it's not going to include the roundabout. The roundabout is going to be later. The county has been delegated the funds and the responsibility to do the roundabout. They were going to do it in December, and SKA talked to traffic and said, why don't you wait a little bit, wait until after tourist season. In fact, you can wait till the next millennium as far as we're concerned. And so they're at least going to wait until about May, I think. So over a year from now, before the traffic circle starts. I'm not necessarily a big supporter of traffic circles. So
Not there.
Not there, that's.
not there, I don't think. And so we'll see what happens. Any questions on that? Okay, well, the county's been working with us on both of these, and I appreciate that. And appreciate the support of our commissioner. So, anything else?
One thing I think would really, really help traffic, it's all about mitigation, a little here and a little there, right? Would be, we put the sensors in the main parking lot, and a big sign on 41 turns on. when
Yeah.
It's a counter, it counts how many cars come in, how many
Right,
go
and
out.
that's an approved project, right?
That would be an amazing use of the funding instead of roundabout.
It is. That was one of the line items in the surtax 4 that was just approved.
Great,
Yes.
that's awesome.
I forget, $1.5 million or something like that. Who knows the schedule, but I think it'll help a lot. I was amazed. We went to Disney World and they have a sensor under every parking place and a little red light that turns on. And when they tell you there's 20 parking spaces available on floor 5, they really are there, and you can see them, big little red lights. So,
That's awesome news.
yeah, and we should thank Kristen Ziegler, because he's the one that put that in.
You did, wow, I gotta think,
Late in the game, but he listened to us
yeah.
But do you think?
on that.
Think if someone drives all the way here from across the state and they see a sign that says there's only 20 parking places left, they're gonna turn around and go back? I don't think so. Well, I think they'll come on the
No,
island.
but maybe the locals that are coming out for the day will say, they think there's a big party at the end of the line, right? So they're waiting for that party, but there's no parking. So if somebody alerts them, it's actually a really nice thing to do because they're not wasting their whole day sitting in traffic. So even if 20% turnaround, that's a huge number.
It is.
So it's just not
Yeah.
mitigation,
Well-
a little here and a little there.
Yeah, if you feel strongly about it, you can write the commission because they can
So far,
delete that and just let people keep doing what they're doing.
You know, there's nothing happening.
No, it'll be 2024 is when the first set of projects get done and
That'll be,
none of them been scheduled yet.
may not be right.
Oh, I did.
How many pay to park places are there on the Key?
The ones in Davidson.
private
Drugs
ones.
and- Yeah,
Huh?
Davidson Drugs has a, that's what all those. are.
Real estate.
None of the county lots.
No county, they're all free parking.
Sure, I know that, but as far as pay,
Look, ask Gary's got one down there on Old
yeah.
Stickney Point Road.
There's
a number.
Yeah. Okay,
Bob, how much does this church charge for parking for the daytime?
20 a day. 20 a day.
Do they,
$20 a day.
and do they have a lot of people parking here?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, especially at spring break. For the next couple of months, there'll be plenty of people. Okay, thanks.
Stop, can you hear me?
Yeah.